Okay, so this is another attempt at me playing the Tomb Kings against the Dwarves. We've been trying to figure out if the Tomb Kings can actually do a good job against the Dwarves. So, right from the get-go, I'm playing the Tomb Kings. I have a Casket of Souls. It's artillery, but it does magic damage, so it's 25% of the damage is going to be mitigated. I have 4 skeleton warriors, one here back here protecting the catapult or the casket, 3 up front. I have 2 of these Nakara warriors. This was my big brains play, I thought. I got 3 of these Ushafti melee. They're anti-infantry and they're armor piercing. And my goal is just to keep them on top of the skeleton warriors and hopefully, possibly help win those fights, but mostly just hold. I've got an Ushafti Great Bow and also the ROR Ushafti, which is more anti-infantry than anti-large. Also does, it looks like armor sundering? No, shield breaker. Okay, so it's just good against units that have missile resistance and stuff. I have Archon the Black, and I brought his Tomb Blade of Archon, which gives me summons. This gives me more power recharge. Basically his normal stuff, and then Spirit Leech and Purple Sun. And 2 Nakara Horsemen here on the flank. They're for my harass. And that's about it. So for the dwarves, I'm already starting to rain in some fire onto the dwarf warriors, which is not where I want to be putting that. But he's got dwarf warriors up the front. It looks like 4, 5 of them. He's got Thunderers, so that's 2 Thunderers. He's got the Dragonback Slayers, and I think a regular Slayer somewhere. Giant Slayer, actually. He's got these Trollhammer Torpedoes, which are really good against Tomb Kings because of constructs. They're very good anti-large. Shorter range, but still good. He's got Miners in the back to protect his lines, and this one has the blasting charges, and I think 2 Corridors. Yeah, Corridors. This is the thing that makes fighting the dwarves hard, is their missile units have so much armor, and they just hit like Mack trucks. So, and then for his leadership, I forgot, I didn't see these until later in the game, but he's got these Iron Drakes with flamethrowers, which are going to be good against my infantry, for sure. And then he's got Grendel, who has kind of become the go-to lord. So we can go ahead and speed it up. And I'm just I'm just sitting waiting for him because I have the artillery advantage. If he had brought a cannon or 2, I probably would have had to advance because my Casket of Souls would have probably been out-traded pretty easily. So the ROR Ushafti Great Bow starts to go into the Dwarf Warriors. That's to help me win those front lines. The others, I think I'm going to start targeting his Iron Drake torpedoes. He's firing into my Skeleton Warriors, which have really good shields, so that's okay with me. Over here, I'm trying to advance or get to the side with these. I realize I got them in range of that, and I start to move them. So we're just going to sit here. I'm just going to keep firing at... Oh, and then, yeah, I realize that his Slayers are one of the biggest problems for me, especially with my constructs. So I start firing at them with pretty much everything I've got. Except for these Ushafti, I think, are still targeting the Trollhammer torpedoes. So at this point, I've decided I'm going to take the frontline fight. And yeah, these Ushafti should do pretty well. It looks like I'm kind of winning that. The only thing is the skeleton swords are just not going to hold up for very long. The Ushafti will help them sort of with that. And Nakara warriors, I believe, have pretty good stats. Melee attack 32, I think, is really good for skeletons, and they have weapon strength of 33, and 7 of that is armor piercing, so that's definitely going to help. Archon, I think, throws down a Spirit Leech, which I probably should have been targeting the Trollhammer torpedoes or his guns with that. Just save Grom Grendel for the end. He's unbreakable now, I think, so Liber Mortis goes down the front to help keep these skeletons from dying. I think the blasting charges and the flame hands are doing a number. That's actually a really good play, him getting these Iron Drakes towards there. I drop a summon here to try to get into his guns, and I also get my Nekara Horseman in on his Trollhammer torpedoes. I snuck him kind of through. It actually ended up having to chase him down all the way across the map in the back, and then I immediately try to pull him back towards me, leaving my skeleton swordsman there to kind of finish it off. I could have gone straight back into these dwarf warriors, but I was microing elsewhere. We break off those dwarf warriors on this flank, and I immediately start pushing as much as I can into the spoilers. We got the Dragon Backslayers really low, but they still have 28 models, and they're still, like, that's how good of a unit they are. With 28 models, they'll still be really troublesome. This flank is going okay. My skeletons are kind of faltering, but this right here is not a good trade for him. These Iron Drakes won't do much against the armor of these Ushabti, plus they're more anti-infantry, so that would be better. He also gets on me with Grom Grendel, and I start to realize at this point I'm like, this is all I'm worried about. I do another Spirit Leech. It's not doing much effect. Again, I should have been focusing some of his these Iron Drakes or the Troll Hammers, because that would have done more damage. Yeah, I'm starting to lose the infantry fight, which I knew was going to happen. It just all depends on if I got enough money value out of these Ushabti Great Bows. He's actually getting a miner back here, but I kind of see it. I got my skeleton spears or swords here, and eventually I'll get them onto the miners better. I used the Ushabti summon here just to help Archon get out of there, because he's hurting, he's crumbling. Yeah, and actually this is the flame thing is actually also hurts the leadership, so that's actually going to be pretty good. I do Purple Sun there at the last second, just realizing, I was about to lose my board, so I dropped it. And it actually did pretty good. I got rid of those guns there. The only problem is I was saving that for the end. Because the last time we fought this, we ended up in a big blob fight. I was trying to save that for the end, but I need to use it or lose it type of thing. So at this point, it's turning against me. I'm going to have to fast forward a little bit. I just don't have my missile units are going to start to be the targets of everything. Right now, ammo I think as well. So it was a pretty good attempt, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. I think it was the right build. I think maybe a few tweaks here or there, but mostly it's just him grabbing my Archon the Black so early on was what won it for him. Oh wow, I didn't realize this. Archon the Black got 5,200, almost 5,300. Oh, that's the damage dealt. Never mind. 835 damage value is not very good. Skeleton swords were just there to hold. Nekara warriors, they didn't do much. I probably should have found a way to get more Tomb Guard instead. They would have held longer. Nekara horsemen, one paid for itself. Or maybe not. Maybe I think they're 600. I started out microing them very well, but ended up kind of getting them killed, losing track of them when I was trying to save Archon. The Ushabti, they helped hold that line a lot more, but they didn't really do much. And the problem is that they cost 800 or something, and I'm fighting Dwarf Warriors, which are like 450 or something. They're just not going to get their money's worth. Uh, this Ushapti Great Bow, not bad. I think they're like 1,000, so that's not bad. This one, I definitely think it paid for itself, and it did pretty well. This definitely paid for itself. No, actually, I think they're like 1,200, but it came close, and that was just there to protect. So let's see, Grum Grendel. Oh wow, that's probably because he got onto Archon. If I had kept Archon safer, it probably would have done better. Miners were just there to hold. They did pretty well considering they got a blasting charge on some of my skeletons. Dwarf Warriors, yeah, they just held. Slayers, Slayers, I don't think paid for themselves, so that makes me feel better about life. Quarrelers did pretty good. Yeah, those Iron Drakes, they got 1,000. That's pretty damn good. Thunderers almost always pay for themselves. And I did get those Troll Hammer torpedoes down before they could really do what they were doing. They're anti-large, so I don't think like the bigger constructs are a better target for them, but I mean they still do just as well against regular Shopti. Okay, let's see. Let's look at Dark Elves and Greenskins. Appropriately on Troll Country. Okay, slow it down real quick. Let's start with his side. He's got 2 Goblin Wolf Riders with archers, which are a really good harassing tool. He's got, I think, 3 Goblin Spears, always a good fodder piece. He's got the Hammer of Gork, which is ROR Rock Lobber. It has like a blinded effect, and I think just better stats than the regular Rock Lobber. He's got Night Goblin. I think these are the Fanatics. It doesn't say in the pop-up because they don't want. I don't really know. But he's got 2 of them. He's got 2 Orc Biggins and more Wolf Riders here. These are the Mangy Marauders. These are armor piercing, so they're really good. And he's got these Death Creepers, who I just recently found out. I think they stalk. Yeah, they stalk and they regenerate, which is legit. I'm going to have to start finding money to bring them. And let's see here. And then he's got Azag in the sky with his Wyvern, and he brought, let's see, Beta Yuna, Soul Blight, Spirit Leech, and Aspect of the Dread Knight. I think that's too many spells. I think bringing more than 3 is a mistake, and usually bringing 2 is a good idea. Otherwise, you just don't have the magic, especially as the Greenskins, the magic to be able to use all of them. And he brought Black Orc Big Boss. These guys are really cool looking. They're just super expensive. The thing about them that makes them really nice is they have this attribute, which imbues like immune to psychology. I was talking to him after the thing, and I was telling him like I use this guy with stone trolls to help like keep them in the fight, keep them from terror routing. And he also has a Goblin Big Boss, who is always a good choice. And these what is this? Orc Boar Biggins, which are anti-large cab. And there's the Goblin Big Boss. So let's go ahead and get started. Right away, I'm just going to start pushing forward because he has the mobility archer advantage, so I gotta start gaining on him. I think at this point I start like fainting with my Manticore to like kind of push back his archers and also my Dark Riders here. Oh, I didn't go over my build real quick. Let's pause it. So yes, I have a Feral Manticore. 800 points, good, quick, fast, terror-causing unit. Pretty damn good for how cheap it is. I've got 3 of these Dark Riders, which are just their like super light cav. They're good for, battlefield control, just protecting things and chasing down routing units. I've got, I think it's 2 or 3 of these Dread Spears, 2 of these Bleak Swords, 3 of these Bleak Swords. I've got 4 Dark Shards without shields because I need the money. Again, more Dark Shards. I got Witch Elves, which, they'll rampage units, and other than that, that's pretty much what they're good for. Their stats aren't the greatest. And then we have the Blackguard and Nagaron, which is a really strong halberd unit, anti-large, huge amounts of armor and armor piercing. And and then my leadership is I've got Marathi with Soul Stealer and I think it's Doom and Darkness. Yeah, which I didn't end up using. I just ended up using the Soul Stealer, so I could probably save some money there. I got Death Hag, which basically she has and you should go back. She has Chill Blade, which lowers melee attack and speed. And then Marathi actually also has something where her Enchanting Beauty, which lowers melee attack as well, and -8 charge bonus. So that's really good. And then I got the Master, who I only brought I brought Guardian, which gives 15% physical resistance to lords and heroes around him. And this that gives armor and melee attack to everything around him. So that's my kind of gooning kit to help me win the front line and possibly take down characters. So again, I'm just kind of trying to push back his archer units, and I kind of draw out his cavalry there, and I start using my Dark Riders to push off the other cavalry archers thing. He's targeting my Blackguard with his catapult, which is a really good play. They're super expensive and tightly packed, so that's a really good place to put him. And at this point, I'm just going to start taking all the infantry fights. Against the regular goblins, I should win those pretty handedly. He overextends with these pump wagons, and my archers and my Dark Riders just destroy them. Which they're not too expensive, so that's not a big deal. And then he does a Fata Una on these Witch Elves, which is, I guess it's okay. Ooh, I missed the Fanatics cast. I think it did pretty good work. Fata Una is so expensive, I just don't see, you should probably use those on, heavy cav or something that's worth a little more. But my Witch Elves start gaining into the front and onto the Black Orc Big Boss. I'm already losing some of my units, but that's why I got these 2 people in here. I drop a Soul Stealer. I hit these big ones. Goblin Big Boss. I missed the Black Orc Big Boss, which sucks. Drop the Manticore on top of the Goblin Rock Lobber just to shut it down. Probably a waste on my part. I probably could have been a little bit better with that. But yeah, he's got Azag there, kind of beating up on the Feral Manticore, who's doing some work back, but still probably not worth it all in the end. My Blackguard, I just wanted to stop getting them killed, so I started moving them back, and then I see the Orc Cav moving, so I start dropping them back to try to protect my archers. This is a good play gain on top of my archers. I think he ends up shutting them down pretty bad. Let's see here. Azag's back in the sky. I get Dark Riders in on to break off that catapult, so that'll be a good bet. Marathi starts getting beat up on. I think it's the archers, but it's also probably the Goblin Big Boss who's doing some good work. I might have missed let's actually see if he brought. Yeah, they need stabbing. Which he probably hit that on her, which probably did a lot of good work. I'll have to ask him. But yeah, the Master, again, he has that physical resistance, the Guardian thing, so that's going to help her out. we're getting the Black Orc Big Boss down, and I don't think he's really gotten any. Ooh, missed another Fanatics cast, which got all my Dark Riders, is breaking them off, so that's really good. But back here, I've got these cheap Dark Riders chasing off 3 of his archer units. That's really money for me. Yeah, and the Orc Cav here, like, yeah, it's getting that archer down, but it's also getting beat up by the Blackguard there, so that's kind of a wasted thing there. Night Goblins are doing well. I think they trade pretty well against Bleak Swords, but they're just outnumbered. And he's been doing a pretty good job at, like, trying to get at my archers, but I've been kind of, like, getting them away here and there. The key about these archers that I've noticed is having distance between them, so if one gets attacked, you can use the other, like, 2 or 3 to knock down whatever's attacking the first one. I also got another Soul Stealer on these Orc Biggins and these Night Goblins. I think I missed Azag again. He's pretty quick. But that also gives Marathi healing, who is over here and working a bit better off than she was. Black Orc Big Boss came back, but at this point I wanted to kind of start bringing my forces back together, so I'm bringing her back. And this is what I'm talking about. So he gets the 1 archer there, but then these 2 are still firing at him, and he's getting awfully low. And at this point, Ben was like, "Get up in the air! Why are you doing this?" So, but he finally does, and then he, starts diving on this one. But then this Dark Shard, I think that Terror Routed is actually back, and they'll start firing in Azag now too, as he eats part of my Bleaks or my Dreads, or whatever, these Dark Shards. But yeah, he breaks, and that's the kind of the army losses kicks in. That was a really good fight as well. See, Marathi didn't really do much. I think she helped win the front fight because of the debuff she has, her and the Witch Elf, or Death Hag rather. But yeah, they did okay. The Master was just really there for Guardian and to help goon out like the heroes. My front line was literally just there to hold, and they barely did that. Witch Elves did okay. I mean, they got a lot of kills, but not a lot of money worth. Blackguard didn't pay for themselves. Manticore was kind of a waste. Dark Riders did, not very well. So here's where all the money, all the damage value came in, was my Dark Shards. And this is generally, every time I play Dark Elves, this is what ends up being, is that the Dark Shards, 2,400 on this one. They usually are the things that win me the game. Azag did okay. Got 1 Big Boss. I mean, he cost like, I don't know, 700, 600, depending on what was brought. So he did okay. Black Orc Big Boss. Again, I have trouble making these guys pay for themselves. Mostly it's just the immune to psych that I bring them with. Goblins held for as long as they could. Yeah, these Fanatics did pretty well. I don't know if you needed the Biggins here. They're good. I didn't bring any real large minus the Manticore, but if I had brought Hydra or a Dragon, they would have been a really good source. But they're really good infantry. They have pretty good leadership for the Greenskins. So they're not a bad inclusion, but if he had brought like regular orcs, they probably would have done around the same and for a lot cheaper. You could have probably brought 3 of them for these 2. So I'm on the fence about that. The Orc Boar Biggins, I don't think I've ever seen anyone really bring these or do well with them. They're just such a flimsy, like, they're big and they're heavy and everything, and they hit hard, but they just never last, and they just like get deleted by everything. Yeah, his sheep archers did really well, especially these 2. Hammer of Gork did well. That 880 is after I got shut down pretty early on, and it's all blackguard, so that was legit.